Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'd like to talk to you about an interesting old book that I found. Before I show you the book, I wanted to talk to you about how I came to own these books, because it's kind of an interesting story. I'll keep it quick because this is the internet. Years ago I was tasked with doing some maintenance in the remnants of the old Want and Shan building. Now the old Want and Shan building in downtown Center City, Lancaster holds a lot of memories for me and for a whole lot of people from Lancaster, and there's still a whole bunch of us left. And later, that building fell under the ownership of Boscov's, and then they ran it into the ground. And when they were all done with it, it became a giant abandoned hulk right in the center of downtown Lancaster. The building was abandoned when I finally got to go into it. And the coolest thing about going in the old Want and Shan building when it was abandoned and completely empty from top to bottom was that as a child, I had grown up going there with my mother. So it was a lot of fun. And you know, the really strange thing is I'm 6 feet 8 inches tall, so when I went back in that building as an adult, my head nearly hit the ceiling. Owing to the fact that I was there to mostly do maintenance, I was required to be down in the basement a lot. There was a lot of stuff left over from the history of the building, and that's where it got really fascinating because I love that kind of stuff. One of the things I found were 2 old advertising manuals, and that's what led these into my hands. I had never seen anything like this before, and at that time, and it was the 90s. And you know, I'm sure that for some people this is a very common thing, but for me, coming from a small town, now I had lived in Japan in the military, and I had gotten around the world in the Air Force a little bit, so I wasn't a complete hometown boy. You know, a packaging catalog was just something I had never heard of, but I had never seen anything as interestingly constructed as this 1940 packaging catalog. The most fascinating thing about this book as we look through it is that, well, it's from 1940 and it's in perfect condition, and there are all kinds of samples and pieces of things in here, and it's just, I've never actually looked at every page of this book. So let's have a look at this crazy ass book. I mean, this is just incredible. A packaging catalog. I'm sure most of this is done on the internet now, right? But let me see here. I'll hold it just like the guy on the front cover. Let's dive in. Okay, so here we are looking down on the book. And what a great old book this is. Just look at that great design. You got 2 confident American salesmen on the cover there. And if you take a nice close look, and taking a nice close look is what this is all about, right? We're book lovers. We love things like book construction and book design. There's a great representation of the 1940s American salesman. He's ready to go out and take on the world with his many samples that would be in this book. So, but if we just look at the edges on this, that's from 1940, and it still looks that good. Now, these pages were always going to be like this because, you know, there are actual samples all through this. Kind of tribute to Greek iconography there, possibly. It does seem to be maybe a Roman or Greco-Roman styling there, which was kind of reflective of the times, right? I mean, architecturally speaking, there was still a desire for the reflection of antiquity in architecture and form. So it was something that was still somewhat appreciated, although being edged out all the time. There's some guys hard at work. I don't know what the hell they're working on there. It's kind of a big scary machine. Has a lot of moving parts there. That looks like a reflection of the Mediterranean diet. Here we have a nice shopping scene at a store. And of course, this stuff is all reflective of what's inside this gigantic catalog. We can see some of these things. Displays, plastic. Ooh, what else do we have? Bags. So let's have a nice look at these. Opening boards. Also the end board here. Because as you can see, they are in pristine condition. And let's have a look at the edges here. Once again, this is just this wonderful looking knit. You know, it almost has the quality of, well, it's, you know, clearly it's cloth of some kind. I would say like linen almost. And I would say that, you know, this is like painter's canvas, possibly linen as well. It has a linen-like quality to it, although it would be very rough. I mean, you could, I've owned shirts that feel exactly like that. And you know how linen is, you can iron it, but as soon as you look at it, it wrinkles. But as you can see here, no wrinkles. This is in fantastic shape. Very happy with that. I've had this thing sitting packed away for 20 years. Still looks as good as the day I found it. Must have been an amazing book, you know, the week it was printed and ready to go. It must have just been full of the smells of ink and plastics and materials that were within it. Just thought I'd give you a nice close-up of what's going on here. So it says here, published by the Breskin Publishing Corporation, and they're in New York, Chicago, publishers of modern packaging, plastics. So here we have the foreword, and I'll leave the foreword, you know, for you to pause on and read if you like, and I'll make sure that it's nice and clear. And if you are truly interested in reading the foreword, I just want to make it easy for you. So I'm going to hold it there, and then you can pause on that. Hopefully you got to read that. I'm just going to make sure that that is positioned correctly, and we'll just keep going. So we have it. There's a massive table of contents there, which all appear to be kind of on the same theme. And then we begin to move into the actual meat of the book and the art proper. And just look at that. Look at that great old design. So the first thing it says here are design principles. All right, and of course you can read all this writing. I'm not going to do a whole lot of reading to you. I trust you to be a reader. So that's nice. There's an acknowledgement to the contributors. And then it lays out what it feels to be at the time were the principles of package design. And this just goes on to talk about product design and design testing. That's very interesting. Initiating package change. Oh, I mean, I think that all makes sense. That's how you progress, right? That's also how you keep making money. So here we're looking at selection and use of color. I am very interested in color theory and always have been. I find it fascinating. I used to do a lot of painting. Well, packagers and the law. I didn't really think about that. Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. Okay. Well, I mean, you know, they were certainly trying to protect the people at some point back then. And there's just some legalese going on there. Direct color photography. I'm not sure how old really ubiquitous color photography was by 1940, but I know that there was still enough black and white going around that most people were using both in one form or another, and there certainly was very little color filming going on. So there's an interesting commentary on direct color photography, which some of you old-time photographers might really find interesting. I'm going to lay that out flat so you can see it. And then we move right into our first advertisement that's being listed here. And I'm kind of wondering, okay, so this is just an example. I'm going to turn this like so you can get a better look at Buddy brand large sweet peas. And I mean, is Buddy brand still out there? I doubt it. But we have savory noodles and pork. Ugh. So if that's your kind of food, there you go. There's the recipe. If anybody wants to make that and then post a video about it, please make sure you link me when you do. But all kidding aside, look at this wonderful use of color. This was printed in 1940 and it could have just as easily been printed yesterday. It's very well preserved. And it's a great use of color. White Villa pumpkin. Okay, we have large sweet peas. Sugar and salt added. You don't got to worry, baby. They got you covered. So this page goes on to talk about color photography for the time in 1940. And So I just want to lay that out so you can see. It talks about accurate reproduction, advantages of direct color, and there's nothing under there, but isn't that something? There's a little bit of print down here. It's 2 examples of the recent use of direct color photography on can labels. The Buddy label utilizes direct color reproduction of the product as poured from the can on the front vignette and a direct color photograph of a prepared recipe utilizing the product on the rear panel. The White Villa label utilizes a direct color vignette of one panel and a non-photographic illustration on the other. How interesting. And here's our illustration, and it's got this nice outlining on the typesetting all around there. It's embossed. You can feel it. This is more of, not, this is also mildly embossed. This is like super embossing right there. Very nice. So this brings us on to the section 2, and this little tag says paper boxes. And this does show a little bit of wear there, because this is just another piece of canvas linen, possibly, that has been glued on there with some kind of glue that probably causes your head to fall off if you're not careful. Just kidding, these old products. I have no idea how safe they are. Probably best just to wash your hands after you handle them. I worked at a middleman company for many years, and we actually did packaging and boxing there, or repackaging and boxing. So these things do come in large quantity, and then you fold them out and set them up. This is from the F.N. Burt Company Incorporated, and they're in Seneca Street, Buffalo, New York. And so it says here, nary a sacred idol at Burt. No fetishes or taboos or obsolete formulas, but plenty of progressive ideas that have kept us one of America's leading box makers for over 50 years. So all they had to do was put down somebody's ancient religion in order to tell you how advanced they are. We've never wavered from our sole job to produce for you the best possible boxes and cartons and displays at the lowest outlay. Let outworn methods fall where they may. Oh, geez, I apologize to anyone who might be connected to this religion in any way. So I just have more box displays here. Oh, that's interesting. Putting the precipitated chalk inside it's a can inside another can, and Brill's Le Mans lemon flavoring for making fillings, icings, creams, ice cream, etc. That's H.C. Brill Company. Transparent packaging. It was just all the rage. Sparkling transparent packages. Fiber drums. Cellophane lined fiber cans. Can you imagine that things like transparent packaging and cellophane were a big deal back when this company was taking a crap on other people's religion? How fascinating. We look here. It's interesting. They show you the outline of for Ivory Snow, Modeste. No idea what these other things are. Dromedary Devil's Food Mix. I mean, can you even find Dromedary Devil's Food Mix anywhere? That's just amazing. And in case you don't know how to fold things, they tell you. Because, I guess there are people who couldn't figure that out. That is an interesting display. There's like shiny glass bottles and some kind of silver disc there. I think I actually want to know what the hell is going on there. Thermometer. And I mean, the Whitman sampler has never changed. So they've never had to waste a dime on marketing or packaging for the Whitman sampler. I mean, it's the same there as it is. I haven't seen one recently, but the last time I saw one, it still looked exactly like that. That's smart. And I wonder, where is G.A. Bissler now? They're more than box makers after all. They were in Philadelphia. Isn't that nice? Boxes bring business. They sat around a meeting and figured that out. Well, what else do we have here? Sparkette with a K. So, interesting. Seltzer water. Oh, there's just all kinds of interesting stuff here. Muffets. This hexagonal carton packed plenty of problems. To ensure freshness, the end flaps had to be tightly sealed. This made opening the package difficult. The patented side opening was then created for consumer convenience. Muffets must retain its novel shape through transit, handling, and in mass displays. Client is pleased with the way this Michigan carton keeps its trim appearance, its contents fresh and intact. I want to try a Muffets. I really do. We have more simple displays being explained here. I mean, I realize this is not the height of excitement for a lot of people, so I understand if this just seems like a video that's too long for you to watch. If you're from the younger generation, you know, I know they tell you long YouTube videos are not how you get ahead on YouTube, but I mean, yeah, fuck that shit. Sometimes it's good to be an iconoclast. So enjoy my long video about a sample book, but there's probably a few of you out there who find this absolutely fascinating, and for you, we're going to see this through in detail, and we're not going to hurry. Also, this could make a nice background video, like an ASMR, old man talking about boxes in the background, ASMR. We'll see. Let me know if you use it for that. Like if you use it to go to sleep, please let me know. Okay, so I remember making robots like this when I was a kid in the 70s, which I know to some of you is what you punks now call the 19th century. But anyway, yes, in the 70s, when we didn't have anything else to do, we made toys out of the boxes that our toys came in, because that's just the way you do it, right? I remember making tanks out of them too. Look at all these interesting, like I want to see like what the hell's going on here. Patax, heavily waxed paper. The thing that fascinates me about this when I look through a book like this is I'm trying to imagine people back in the 1940s and before and after for some amount of time using these products. Stix friction tape. That's like a little hole. Look at that little teeny tiny hole punch. And there's one of those, like that's like a leather punch thing right there. Brake lining set. What the hell? And there's some bearings. Oh, here's a whole gaggle of displays. I'm going to be going for an award on YouTube, the most mundane video in all of YouTube. Okay, hopefully my voice can rise above that at least. To greater sales with pilloid chests. Now I gotta say, oh yeah, I mean we've seen enough of this folding shit over here, right? I mean it's like, okay, just real quick here. The lock carton, the two-piece telescope carton with overlapping ends, amazing. Quick lock style Cracker Caddy. Cracker Caddy could be a screen name. You can have it. So we have greater sales with pilliod chests. Now I'm not entirely sure what pilliod chests are, but they do look somewhat amazing. I mean, there's silverware in there and clearly some kind of veneer on the outside, and those are butter knives. Okay, so whatever this is, like for like maybe a fucking picnic or something, that is awesome. And there's a little mirror in there, so when you open that one up, there's a mirror, and I don't know what the hell else is going on in there. These are pretty cool. This one's shaped like a heart. I'm impressed. What do we have over here? We have the one-piece collapsible carton, the one-piece Brightwood style carton, triangular carton. See, is that like the Toblerone? How the hell do you say that? That's what they come in, right? Something like that. To this day, they still come in that, right? So, also a victim of shrinkflation. One-piece collapsible carton, nice. That's nice. Two-piece full telescope carton. There's no screen name in there. So let me see. Out of 75 years of profitable packaging comes stories with a moral for sellers and shippers. Oh, isn't that nice? And I mean, just look at this use of color. There's actually some fading going on there. Isn't that interesting? I have to tell you that Now that I rub that page like that, the horrendous smell coming off of this page is truly scary. That's not a smell you want to breathe in all day long. Let's just look at some of these names over here. No Locks Carton. That could be a very unique screen name. Berry and Vegetable Carton. Maybe it's like wax lined, possibly. It's patented. Hudson Bay Point Blankets. See, now I like that. That is really cool. Not the box. I want a Hudson Bay Point blanket is what I want. So this is really cool. What's it say here? Hudson Bay Point Blanket. The seal of quality. Made in England, no less. More boxes. And I got to say, this one catches my eye right away. Bottle carriers. This construction has numerous advantages for doing an excellent job of carrying 3 or 6 bottles. Nice. Oh, look, there's one too. That's for Pepsi. Could also be for Coca-Cola if you actually have taste. And it's a 3-bottle carrier and display. I don't drink any soda anymore, but if I did, it would be Coca-Cola. Although I must say that Pepsi carrier does look nice. There's one for Devil Dogs. In their day, Tasty Cakes were far better than any of this other shit. But at one point or another, Tasty Cakes started using wax. Using hyperbole, of course. What they used was basically dog shit and wax to start making their food, and it just really wasn't good anymore. It's just my opinion. But boy, Tasty Cakes were absolutely amazing right up through the 80s. I got a care package of it, just a giant box of Tasty Cakes when I was stationed in Japan. And that was when they were still making them really well out of just whole fresh ingredients, and they were all full size. There was no shrinkflation, hadn't been applied yet. And it was really, really nice. And I shared them with everybody in my office and even other people who came in where I was stationed in Japan, and people were just absolutely amazed at how good they were. And also that meant I didn't wind up eating enough junk food to put me in a coma. So it was nice to share with my friends from around the world. And they all loved Tasty Cakes. And Tasty Cakes were not available anywhere except like Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware area at the time. So almost nobody knew what they were. Anyway, on to engineered precision cartons. Gardner Richardson, engineered precision cartons. Today's cartons for today's needs. Fuck tomorrow. I added that part. Shoe polish. Oh, look, Shinola. We all know the phrase that goes along with Shinola, right? You don't know shit from Shinola. Well, there you go, kids. It's a thing. Tums. I still take Tums. Once you've been on prednisone, Tums is your friend. There's Ivory Snow. Marvel Lube. Okay, so that's someone can claim that as a screen name, Marvel Lube, right? I mean, if you don't, you're missing out. So here's an interesting list of products. And I mean, it's interesting to think that somewhere in America, people were consuming these products in the 30s and 40s. And Rob Ross whole wheat cereal. All the healthful elements of whole wheats, including the gluten. Yeah, there's the Lipton tea bags. My mother was ostensibly from in and around London, and when she moved to America, she thought that Lipton tea was like water. She would put 2 or 3 of them in a cup and still couldn't get a strong tea flavor out of it. The British drank a much stronger tea, and back then you just couldn't get anything but Lipton tea, unless you probably lived in New York or some other big city, and we just lived in a small town. All kinds of different salt here. Pure creamery butter. Boy, people like to talk about butter in those terms. I'm a big fan of butter too, so I don't have anything nasty to say about butter. I like it. Pure lard, Chesterfields, Camels. That's a great way to package cigarettes. I don't want a cigarette. I don't like them, but I would like that container. It's pretty cool. Oh, we're still on with the packaging. Okay, so quick-set twin cartons, panel folded display, twin display. Oh, this is nice. All of this stuff. I don't know if it's clear or not. I think you can see it from here. Each of these cans has legs, so they're marching in a parade, a Sefton can parade of all things. And of course you can see it's in a nifty S there. Here we have we can't forget what we're here for, folks, right? This chapter is all about paper boxes, right? That's what the tab says. It's paper boxes. We're past design principles, paper boxes now. So we got the books tilting display container, and that is pretty cool. Got a tilting display. So here we have an ad for this wonderful gift box, and you can see this is just this very. I'm afraid to touch it too much because I don't know its strength at this point, but that is an embossed gold leaf kind of looking material on there. I mean, it's just foil, of course, but let's take a closer look. I think that one deserves a closer look. You can see the actual quality of the paper. Paper almost has a handmade paper quality to it. For Armour and Company. It's a special packaging division. But just look at that. I'm going to try to get, there we go. I want to give you a good angle so you can appreciate the color and the style that's going on there. And it is definitely embossed into that paper. It's well done. I mean, if you get embossing done on even like business cards today, embossing is not cheap. And, it usually takes a die and a setup to do it. So you have to appreciate the fact that anyone has done it. Lebanon Paper Box Company. And I was wondering if it might be in Pennsylvania because there's Lebanon is right next to Lancaster. Probably Lebanon in New York from the looks of it, not necessarily near here. Draga display container. Am I saying that right? Draga display container. Okay. I'm not even, that word is eluding me. I'm going to walk away. In the ACE Spotlight, here's more great examples of packaging. Hold the phone. What do we have here? As Goodyear distributors, we can supply you with these famous products correctly designed and constructed to give you longer, more economical performance and any type of service. On your next order, specify Goodyear for Goodwear. Yours very truly, M.N. Pike, Mills Supply Department. I have no idea what we're dealing with there. That is interesting. No idea why that's tucked in there, but of course, we're just going to leave it there. These are just amazing. Just look at that. Look at that design. Holy cow. That is so cool. Look at this incense, like Luxor pine. Wow, that is just, and of course fish food. There's nothing to get too excited about. But incense, interesting to say the least. Vitamins A, B, D, and G. All wrapped up in halibut liver oil capsules. Oh, for God's sakes. Halibut liver oil capsules. Man, oh man, that's wild. And of course, that's Rouge. Let's take a closer look because it's just really cool looking. What a great idea. Those are all really neat. I mean, obviously I'm showing you all this because I have such an appreciation for the time and the time period and the design of the time. But I mean, I have that appreciation for many time periods. But of course, the 20s, 30s, and 40s are just kind of interesting to me. What do we have coming up here? More interesting kind of chocolates and confections packaging. And more of these interesting fold-out displays. I think the word interesting is going to get used a lot. I mean, what else can I say about them? They are interesting, right? I think they want to make your boxes. Fort Orange Paper Company. There's a great turn of phrase. Fort Orange. These places are spread out all over the upper Northeast. All of those East Coast elites. 5-panel counter display container. 5-panel counter display. Neat little heart shape. I kind of like that. So, oh, well, here we go. Sampler Box Paper Corporation, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. My hometown, finally. We finally made it in the book. I mean, there's so much production going on around here, and always has been, paper mills and everything else. I would imagine that we would have turned up in here eventually. And of course, this is one boring-ass advertisement representing my hometown. They really let us down. Oh, basket display container. And then this is Kraft presents Bing Crosby and famous guests. Brought to you by Kraft. So this is cool. Ginger ale, new cans. More displays. Actually, this looks a little bit like the SR-71. Now, I know that was not on purpose. Settle down, conspiracy theorists. But you have to admit, it looks a bit like the ox cart. It looks a bit like the A12, maybe SR-71, depending on the model. I mean, holy shit. Maybe Kelly Johnson saw that and he handed it off to Ben Rich. UFOs ensued. All right, so Cambridge serves the leaders in packaging. Now, I got to say, for me, that is some boring packaging. Well, they got like a whole dedicated page there. Like, I wonder what it cost in the old days to get like a whole page all to yourself, nothing on the other side. Arrow decorative boxes. Are we selling anything interesting inside these boxes? I mean, you got to like stop and take a look. Like, Cody's been around forever, and here their displays are still going on. This is a pipe, Zeus pipe. My father-in-law smoked a pipe. Paraffined and waxed cartons. Which is somewhat still a thing to this day, right? All these fancy names. Waldbaum's, Boughton's, Banquet Better Butter. I guess alliteration was a big part of sales at one time. They wanted to get you to say words that would stick in your mind. Because they couldn't assail you with advertising constantly on a phone, so they had to say things to you that you wouldn't forget, I guess. Well, that says Hagen, but I was almost hoping it said haggis, because I know someone who likes haggis. But it didn't, it just says Hagen. And it's ice cream specialty. So is that the precursor to Haagen-Dazs? I'm just saying, I don't know. More interesting packaging. Supreme waxed paper, very cool. You gotta have Supreme waxed paper. Patex heavy wax paper. Stix friction tape. We've seen a little bit of this before, right? Shoop Owens. Oh, well, this is very dignified looking. This is kind of a masculine layout here. Something going on with toaster there. I have no idea what the hell is going on. Nice box displays. It's really not the best developing job there on that one. Somebody kind of dropped the ball on that a little bit. Some more boxes. And this, once again, this is all about the boxes. And also what's in the boxes, because that is fascinating. These boxes are highly attractive. Rolls, cases, pouches, and chests. Eureka Manufacturing Company. Tauntaun. Almost Tauntaun. I mean, it's almost. There appears to be a split in the making of the book here. I think this might be the first bundle as it's all stitched together. Just working its way loose over how many years? You know, won't be long before it's 100 years. I don't know if you can see all these different metallic finishes they're trying to show off here. I've learned my lesson about rubbing anything on these pages, because the minute you rub them, holy cow, the smells that jump up off these things. You don't want anything to do with that. It's probably rearranging my DNA as we speak. At last, a new shaker top can with outstanding convenience features. So here's all the convenience features. Positive snap locks holds top in closed and sealed position. Positive stop automatically position slide for sifting. Convenient fingernail grip. All kinds of nice features. This was high tech at one time. Oh, paper companies for liquids. Now this is getting interesting. Borden's Milk. Suncrest Farms. Supreme brick oven baked beans. Right there, look at that. That's how interesting. Chocolate milk. Sour market cream. Borden's sour market cream. More folding cartons for displays. Don't compromise. This very mature gentleman doesn't want you to compromise, and neither do I. American Coating Mills Incorporated. We're moving right along here. Oh, some more nice boxes. I mean, I'm not really like a box fanatic or anything, although I have seen a few that I really like here. These are kind of run-of-the-mill. I'm going to give them a pass. Sorry, boxes. I'm really not that impressed by you. So here we go. I remember my mother having just all kinds of stuff like this and my sisters back in the 70s is about as far back as my memory goes for all of that, but it was around the house well into the 80s or 90s. So craftsmanship that is unexcelled in paper boxes and paper specialties. There's our final closeout on boxes. So here we go on to wrappings and ties. I mean, just hang in there, folks. We've only got about 4,000 hours to go. I mean, this book just fascinates me endlessly. If nobody enjoys this video but me and possibly my wife, I guess I'll be happy, but I sure hope someone else likes it. Hopefully it's not that long. We can do 10 hours of this, right? There we go. Buckle up, kids. Okay, here we are, wrappings and ties. Section 3, and it even says here with the death glue piece over here, wrappings and ties. Okay. Fancy box making papers, foils and foil mounted papers, glassine papers. I mean, hold on to your hats, folks. What the hell? Types and uses, display background papers. I know you can read. I'm just reading it too because I'm fascinated. Vegetable parchments. Okay, all right. Transparent wrapping, sheeting, window face wraps, laminate and combining decorative. Oh my God, leatherette and fabric materials. I mean, holy shit. Package sealing tapes, shredded paper and cellulose. Color me impressed. Oh, we have some transfer of these wonderful material samples here. Now, as I recall, these material samples were in much better shape when I first found this. This has been sitting in hot, cold storage for 20 years, maybe more. So it's entirely possible that this took a bit of a hit at that point. You still got a pretty nice look at these wrappings, and this is just, you know, adhered right onto the page. Somebody put a lot of work into designing that. They have codes in case you see something you like. Still visible to this day. Just talking a little bit about fancy box making and papers, private versus public designs, comparative costs. Fascinating. Oh, look at that. Holy cow. So we're talking about a foil, fancy paper, coated, not coated, embossed. Charles Williams Co. Incorporated. Where the hell were they located? Chicago and Boston. So just look at this. Oh, all right, I gotta get up here and see. How does it, okay, we're getting a good look at this. Isn't that nice? Boy, look at that. It's just beautiful. I actually took a pattern out of here and made a t-shirt out of it. And my wife occasionally wears that t-shirt and looks damn good in it. This has a lot of texture. It's very textural. But they all do. Oh, that's like corkboard. Look at that. So, okay. So I'll go get tested for plutonium poisoning now. Who knows? Wow, that is like one super thick piece of paper. That is hollow and there's nothing going on in there. Okay, just so you know, we didn't miss out on anything, but they decided to put blue lettering on a blue paper, and so it shows up really well. For your convenience, FCC sparkling ribbons. We have a nice display of ribbons and a bottle down here. Not entirely sure what's going on, but you can see the wonderful 45-year-old hand of that woman pulling the two-tone ribbon. So, okay, let's go here. Oh, wow. Foils and foil-mounted papers. I mean, this is getting interesting. There's some bread, and that bread is called health bread, and that is Hankey's health bread. Hollywood. Hold on, I got more to read here. Hollywood, stay slim, keep well. Health bread. All right, so what you do is you just take a bunch of words like Hollywood, health bread, stay slim, keep well, and then you put it on bread where it has no place being mentioned in any way. Yeah, that's some ad. Like somebody made money off that ad copy. This ad would like you to remember that your package has two sides for economy, eye appeal, protection, and production. This is no longer adhered. The glue gave up the ghost. But just look at this. Since the glue isn't working on this one, you can just pull this up so you can get a closer look. And these samples, I'm not entirely sure what to expect here, but just look at that photograph. That is a well done black and white photograph. And it has really held up. And so these are different types of leaf and paper. I'm not entirely sure, but just look at that. I mean, I know it's probably not even the original intended color, but if you bought a sandwich, especially in a small hometown like mine, they were always wrapped in things like this, these different kinds of wax papers and stuff for the longest time. That really is a cool display. Well done, folks. It says, ah, yes, the sizzle sells the steak, but only its taste can make the diner come back. And then this is a long explanation about how you want your food to be fresh, so you better wrap it up in paper. We have a whole bunch of interesting packaging going on here from things that we're all probably very familiar with. Ritz crackers, Quaker puffed rice, which apparently when I was a little kid and going through that eating phase, that's all I would eat, and bologna. Great crisps, Wheatina, still out there. People still buy that, right? Egg noodles, Challenge tea, okay, Old Navy, Tender leaf tea, beech nut chocolate biscuit assortments, Vitality bread, I'm telling you. False advertising, all lies. Oh, well, now we've got something cool to look at here. What is this? Alcoa aluminum foil. 6 out of 66 answers to packaging problems. Well, I will say that this says this is in a Gulf Building, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but there's a massive Alcoa plant right out on Manheim Pike. I've driven by it so many times I couldn't even tell you. And my fondest memory of Alcoa was driving into work one morning. I had to drive by Alcoa every day for about 10 years. And one day, one of the people working in Alcoa cut me off. And I didn't even do anything. I just got cut off and I had to slam on my brakes. And he turned around and gave me the finger and then proceeded to drive into Alcoa. So I just kind of thought it must be a happy place to work. Anyway, let's take a look here. What do we have here from the middle finger folks at Alcoa? Well, let's see. This is just great. Wow. And I really mean that. I'm afraid to mess with this. I don't want to F it up. F it up. We're living in the 40s. I had to say F it up. So this is my broken up knife. You see that? You see that? You see that right there? This knife was brand new and unbelievably nice, and I let a coworker use it to open a box really quick, and he always imagined himself a very coordinated person. Well, that dude went to cut that box open and he just ran this thing right along a concrete floor. And that was the end of this being a good knife, because that just chipped off all on its own about 2 weeks later. So I never told him because I didn't want him to feel bad about it. And he's not going to watch this video, so he's not going to know. So let's just look at that. Boy, that is really something. There's a beautiful embossed pattern on that. Like I said, I really had no idea what to expect. Oh, that is so fine. Can you hear that? Making that wonderful sound that aluminum foil makes. Very distinguished. Discernible sound. Boy, isn't that something? That is really cool. So what do we have here? It says, these swatches show but a few of the numerous combinations of thickness, color, embossing, and packaging that may be had in Alcoa aluminum foil. Now, we've been going at this a while. I'm starting to get a little delirious. All right, so what do we got here? Display and background papers. Now, there's clearly some damage here that was always there, and it probably came from the shit display on this page. Looks like it says here since 1929. I mean, this is a mess, but wow. Look at that. Very cool. Quality's best attire. One of the interesting things about a book like this is it's a sure bet that nobody involved in the making of this book is still alive. And that's what makes this book truly remarkable. It's a wonderful piece of history. And that's just the kind of guy I am. I always start to wax poetic when I look at things like this, especially when it's something this interesting and this well preserved. Okay, so here we have the next page. Oh, what do we got? There's some stuff going on here. Once again, part of the reason for being here is how curious we all are, right, about people in these ancient products, some of which we still use to this day. So lavender, I am so not a fan of lavender. I don't send me lavender. I don't like it. It's not, like lavender turns up in like tea and stuff. Like, who the hell drinks that? So anyway, I'm not a fan of the smell of Earl Grey. Don't like bergamot either. Got a lot of don't likes for you here, but there are things I do like, you know. So I'll make sure I mention them. So here we have 400 different box papers stocked by Middlesex for same-day shipments. Avoid costly delays. That would be nice. New York, Philadelphia, and Chicago. Of course, New York is a hub, but Philadelphia appears to have been quite a hub at one time. I think they still do important things in Philadelphia. They make some damn good coffee there, that's for sure. La Colombe Corsica coffee is the best coffee in the world. There's a neat pattern on there. It's like a brushed metal pattern. Oh, okay. Look at that. That's like crocodile. And that one is like plenished metal, plenishing. Paul Revere used to like to do that. Can't really say. That's just a yellow paper of some kind. Foil-coated paper. I don't want to scrunch these up with my fingertip, you know. I want to be careful. Nice texture on that one. I don't know what you'd call that texture. That is a really deep maroon. This is like a lizard skin. And that, which also is amazing. Look at that vibrant green. Boy, that's really something. The Marth Protectoid. Protect your woods. So, here we have on the underside of this, I missed this over here. We have a brief description of Middlesex Paper Service. We have some more soup zips. I got to see what we're dealing with there. Buttered oyster crackers, soup zips. We have a rundown here of types of waxed paper, because did you know there are types of waxed paper? I mean, if you're having a hard time falling asleep tonight, folks, or any night, you come back here and you just zoom in on that and your insomnia is cured. You're welcome. We have distinctive packaging papers by Marvellum. So there's a definite texture there. This reminds me of thatch pattern over an image in order to give it texture or grain. This is almost like wallpaper. I mean, that is really something. These are all just beautifully embossed and set up. They really are nice. That pattern is very good. Here we have display of, I'm going to assume, since those are turkeys, that those are also turkeys. They do look a little robust to be chickens, especially from the time. Here's a Chief Fancy American Cheese Brick. Package appeal, put your best foot forward. Salada tea bags, boy, I remember those. And of course, toilet paper called Swank. Would that even work now? I never really took the time to notice before that this is a pair of legs, feet, walking forward. Package appeal, putting your best foot forward, of course. On nice shiny silvery paper, cracks, 1 pound net weight of crackers, okay. We need a name for the crackers. I want you all to get together in a room and don't come out of that room until you have a name for these crackers. We're going to call them cracks. So it's printed cellophane and glassine. Glassine is a product name. It just has the sound of the 40s, doesn't it? We wrapped our plutonium wedges in glassine for safety. So, and then we made an atomic bomb. So we got Atco brand, selected fresh haddock fillets, and there's more creamery butter, because it can't just be butter. Sunshine box cover. So we have a bunch of just little, I switched over to this, a little more family friendly. I have had this X-Acto knife since I was a kid. I don't think they've ever even changed the X-Acto design in all of that time. Once again, I just want to be careful because if I just go stumbling, fumbling, thumbing through with this, my big club thumb will just destroy this beautiful layout, and I don't want to do that. So there's a really cool texture on these papers, though. They have names too: reptile, cloud, brooch, crescent, lattice, fabric, oak, wicker, shag. Oh wait, let's take a look at shag. Shag is the last one. That is shag. Say hello to shag. That is leatherette. Sapphire, buff, fern green is very nice. Lavender. I think I've already stated my feelings on lavender. Orchid, sand, drab. Oh, bright as soul, colorful as the rainbow. There's another ad campaign somebody worked long and hard on. Boy, isn't that something? Look at that blue. That is really beautiful. Let's bring that in for a closer look. What do you say? Very nice. Great colors. Has really held up across the ages. So we have brush enamel, gummed sisal tape, gummed cambric foils, flat gummed paper. Hold on, this is another one of those hollow boys. We got going. There's nothing in there. That is just blank paper on that side. But on this side, foil goodness. Stay papers, boxes, brushed enamel, paper glass can bring your product new important advantages. There's an asterisk on there, and why is that? Plain, laminated, and lacquer coated. Okay. Lacquer always makes me think I'm going to get poisoned, but it doesn't mean you are. I just, Boston brown bread. Let's take a closer look here, folks. Hold on. Boston brown bread. I've heard about it. There it is, the legend. A picture, at least. I know there are people who still make it, and I saw a video on YouTube not long ago where people were talking about their Boston brown bread and how they make it, and there's a lot of variation, which is cool. It means people take pride in it. Okay, so battery's getting low, and my voice is starting to wear out anyway, plus I need to eat. We're coming up on the halfway point of the book. Well, maybe I'm fooling myself, but anyway. Look at this shit. Oh man, this is cool. That is still joined up there. I wonder if that was intentional, because this does not appear to pull out or pop out into a larger gatefold of any kind, but that is nicely done. And that does that. That's what all the hollow stuff looks like, that. But there is well, I'm trying to decide, am I looking at a photograph or a painting? And I think I'm looking at a great old photograph. Color photography was rare. Oh, no, hold on. 4-color illustration, courtesy of House and Garden. Copyright the Condé Nast publication. Incorporated. Brule Georges photo. Condé Nast engraving. Boy, I was hoping it would say something like photo by Horst P. Horst. Like, how fucking cool would that be? But anyway, Condé Nast, definitely king of the magazine world way back when. They really put together a nice ad, all in all. I mean, this is like several pages in here. I imagine even back then, this much work with this level and this quality of color and printing, it was not cheap. Plus, I had a license of photo from Condé Nast. We have more samples. The package needs a ribbon, so there's different ribbon qualities here. And there just appears to be some deterioration there. I'm afraid to even touch the darn thing, but I do like them. Stark Brothers Ribbon Corporation. Oh, more ribbon. It's papers by Hazen. Look at those samples, how nice. So let's just go in for a quick look at these. We have some kind of Colorama, Kids Skin, Metallics, Sheer Papers Foil, Floridora printed. And they have just the different types there. And I guess if you like them, they have these codes listed. Boy, just look at that. Once again, I'm just using this because I just don't want to be, thumbing at them or picking at them with my, the natural oils of your hands. Even though my hands have been washed and they're clean, that's never good enough for old like this. Also, I noticed that rubbing them, even just moving them around, I mean, the amount of odors that are coming up out of this is really astounding. I had a hazmat team come in and clear the room and make sure it was safe. It looks like it's good. This is a gorgeous new star among decorative papers, suitable for box coverings, gift wrappings, and displays. I don't know if there's any indication of what we're going on with here. I thought we'd just take a look. Boy, look at that. That is very delicate. It's very delicate papers, inks and dyes, and oh my God, the ancient smell coming up off of this. Wow. And on this next page, pure egg noodles. I'm glad the eggs are pure. And there's a whole wheat bread, full quilt size lotus, pure China cotton, W.T. Grant Co. Okay, I'm back. Took a little break. I had to get away, and I went and looked around on the internet a little bit to see if I could find anything about this catalog, and couldn't find anything on eBay or the internet in general. So far, I feel like maybe I've got a one-of-a-kind project here. Look at that 5-pound weight. Isn't that thing great? I love that thing. So we see here it says, smart shoppers demand smart boxes. That is really well done. That is neat. There's a nice pattern. And there's just layers of ink and paint on there. It would appear to be lightly embossed. I like that one too. Oh, and then there's a little donkey. That's cool. Let's see what we got here. This looks like an old zip bag of some kind. Reuse and storage in the home. Fabricated of transparent acetate laminated into mesh fabric. Cartons of board laminated to transparent cellulose. An interesting approach to box construction. And then here we have this beautiful thing. Now I have no idea what's going on with this, and all the time I've owned this, I've never really looked at this. Let's get that out of the way. Old-fashioned ideas, Victorian bows and bonnets. I wonder if the ink maybe was brighter and stood out a little better at one time. It's hard to say. Petticoats, papers, and packages. There's that alliteration thing again, which seems to be part of how they used to do sales. Now, something really cool was stuck there and got removed. I have no idea. Here we have another page of just these interesting foils and textures. Let's see what we got here. These appear to be maybe a little water damaged, but that color. That color is coming through there. That is really nice. A little hard to bend it up for you to see it. And these just have like, this paper looks like it might have like some kind of material threaded through it. Boy, look at that one. That's neat. Japanese wood veneer. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Cellusuade wood veneer. English wood reproductions. Natsume papers. That's what I thought I recognized there. This paper quality, you could find that in Japan a lot. When I lived in Japan, people would give those gift papers as gift papers for wrapping and different things. It's pretty neat. For 52 years, so 52 years in 1940. My goodness, this is a company from the 1800s. Corodeck for your new packages. Oh, that's nice. I mean, have all these different kind of candies and boxes lined up, and maybe this is part of your wrapper choices. These things are just so fragile. You can feel how delicate they are. Out comes Wyomissing with another conspicuous first. Wonder if that's Gladfelder. Let's turn the page. Wyomissing Glazed Paper Co. Well, check this out. Velours and wood grains. Let's look at those wood grains. That's nice. They have them coated for you. Over here, I guess, would this be some of our velours? Oh, wow. That's really cool. That has an interesting texture. That's a much milder texture on that one. How interesting. Fine suede paper. I didn't even know that suede paper was a thing. I mean, what's that called? Ray velour, wood grains, velours, and 15 attractive colors. Here's a little bit of rundown on leatherette fabric materials. Here we have another colorful layout. This like reddish orange is just popping up off the page. It's really amazing. Safer packaging. Name your product and we'll show you a safer package. I guess, product survival and packaging is really important right up to this day, right? If you've ever worked in retail or even warehousing, things take a hit. That's lost money, I guess. That makes sense. Color commands attention. Apply it to your product with ribbonettes. Ribbonette is carried in stock in widths from 3/16 to 1/4 inch. I guess this is all just one layer. It's set down there for you to feel the texture. Here we have various package sealing tapes. Who remembers these old tape dispensers, man? These things were ubiquitous in schools. Shredded paper and cellulose. So here we are in the section on bags, section 4, types and uses, all kinds of considerations I guess you don't really think about with bags. You just kind of grab a bag and use it. One-man package, easy to handle. That's what she said. All right, so here we have the flat tin can, positive protection. That is really cool. Packed with millions of legume bacteria. What do we got going on here? We got cookies over here. Perfection cookies. I'll be the judge of that. And Husky Bar. The trend is to paper bags by Royal. Yeah, what a shame we didn't stick with that over plastic bags, huh? That probably would have been maybe slightly better in the long run. So what do we have here? Hershey's Kisses. They're manufactured right near where I live. Cadet Coffee. I wonder if Cadet Coffee even exists anymore, right? Blue Star potato chips. Oh man, that is really neat. Rotenone spray. I would really love to know what the chemical is in that. So over here next to the bug spray, we have self-rising waffle and pancake flour. And of course some potatoes and plant food. They all go together so well. And we've got some hosiery business going on up there. I'm not entirely sure. That appears to be a packet of like peanuts or something. Down here we have dog food. Vitamin fortified. Display cartons, window cartons. Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Los Angeles. Seems to kind of be a hub for all of this kind of stuff. Must have been where they all decided to do it. And then here we finally got into the sewn containers, which are pretty neat because over the years I've encountered, sewn containers, or I've been given things in sewn containers, and that was in a much more modern day. And I've never really liked them, but for some reason I always seem to keep them. But here's this little sewn container. It's very soft and felt-like. Feels really nice. It's hollow, of course. And, that's the first time that's been opened like that in about 80 years. No harm, I hope. Bags for potato chips, drinks, interesting boxes for cheese. Check that out. Okay, so we got some cheese going on here. American cheese, Shefford. Interesting explanations. Oh, more bags. I mean, my coffee almost comes in boxes and bags, almost similar to this day. Oh, leak-proof super seal bags. I remember when I was really into tropical fish when I was a kid, and I would always bring my fish home in basically a bag like that. Swiss crisp, tiger rings, fresh fruit pies, gold medal graham crackers. I'm pretty sure I've had those. I recall an interesting story about phosphate getting into some fish ponds that I used to help tend. Poisoned all the fish, so we had to kill all the fish. That was a sad day. I remember that. It was the first really serious job I ever had. I helped with a company that managed ponds for the DuPonts and the Rockefellers. It was a grueling, fun, interesting first job to have as a kid. Just going to kind of turn through here. Sanotape, vitamin A, B, and D capsules. Is that more fish pills, I guess? Pyridium. That almost doesn't sound safe to eat. Vitamins A, B1, C, just interesting products. I mean, the packaging is cool, right? Okay, it is fascinating, but it's the products that really get me. I'm so curious about what the products are. Oh, look at that. Churchill coffee. Cream of lime, finishing hydrate, 50 pounds. Jeez, I have a feeling that's not for, is that for food? Sunny cane sugar. Oh, that's pretty cool. The bag is shaped like a parade helmet. Bone meal for garden use. Fresh whey coffee. Grated gardener's cheese. Parmesan, no less. Fizzy drinks. Heavy duty multi-wall paper bags. So this is our multi-walls listed there, I suppose. Oh, look at that. Shelmar. The top name in transparent packaging and laminating. So that's it. All the rest of you guys can just stand aside. They are the top name. And I'm telling you, that red is as vibrant here as it is in camera. I mean, that is a very red. That has withstood the test of time. More interesting packaging. Okay, and so we're done. We're now done with bags, and we're on to metal containers. Tin packages and cans, especially metal containers. There's all kinds of interesting stuff going on here in metal containers. I think we're just going to breeze through this one, although, I mean, you recognize Spam and sardines, right? Oils. Look at that. I love that little oil can. I recently bought some 3-in-1 oil, and it comes in a plastic, some kind of shit plastic can and bottle, whatever. It's terrible. It's in the old shape, but it's plastic, and it looks like it could be easily punctured. This would have been nice. They didn't have one of those. I must say, these are nicely photographed. Sterling paste black, is that for shining? I guess like shoe shine, different things like that. Stove polish, check that out. Wow. Never heard of stove polish. That's a new one for me. Different kinds of seals for the cans. Who doesn't like a line of old machines? Imagine the noise level. We got a tube of cool cream here. Looks like this product may cause skin irritation on certain individuals. Men in leather shave. All right, let's see what we got here. Lord Jeff Tobacco. Check that out. Saltines. You know you love them. It's fascinating to me that shave cream used to come in little tubes like that. And it has all these different dispensers. And you know what that dispenser's for, right? I mean, you know, right? Okay. All right. at some of it. Oh, these are really cool, man. This is neat stuff. Quixie, auto polish, cement, sparkling salts, various glues. Oh, that stuff is just cool. Once again, I'm impressed by the survival of the color red on these pages. It's very durable. More little canisters, tubes like that. They've got those cool lids on them there. I think I see cookies. You can never go wrong with cookies. Boy, I remember Bachman pretzels coming like this in glass canisters sitting on the bars at like down at Kresge's or down at the Wattenshan building at the soda bar, which I'm not that old, but all this stuff was just going away when I was probably just old enough to remember it, 8 or 9 years old. A lot of nice blue on this one here. The Continental Can Company, they've got numerous locations, including one in Havana. How cool is that? So I'm looking here and I'm seeing like dainty bridge crackers. Like I really want to try them. We've got mineral spring water in a can, ski stick wax, hard candy, metal abrasive powder, but the moth crystals is what really got me. Oh, and we've got trout flies too. That's pretty neat. Aged cheddar cheese. All right, I'm ready to try that. Your package of tomorrow. Vials. I give you Victor Vials. What the hell's going on there? All right, we'll see you later. All right, and here we go. We've now made it to dangerous to touch clip thing glass closures, section 6. Let's call section 7 halfway. We got to get through that and then we'll be at the halfway mark. Okay, so here we go. Glass enclosures. Glass bottles and jars. I mean, it's going to be hard to make this interesting, right? I mean, we've all seen this, but it is interesting to see how they turned it into products. Kimball Glass Company, Vineland, New Jersey, New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, Detroit, Boston. They were all over the place. I haven't checked. It would be interesting to check, though, wouldn't it, to see how many of these companies still endure. Hopefully a bunch of them do. Complete Responsibility. That is just a neat old picture. Look at that. That was really something. There's a couple of neat old paintings. There's a wide variety of lids and enclosures, like mason jar type lids and things like that. More Complete Responsibility. Anchor Hawken. Boy, are they still around? I sure as heck remember them from years gone by. Oh, check out how that dispenser used to work. They used a nice glass bottle on there. I guess one of the drawbacks to glass is that, if you drop it, man, you got a mess on your hands. It's just a whole different level of careful that is required. I remember those at restaurants. You don't see them too much anymore, but that is kind of a neat thing, but they get messy as hell. All of these little bottles, they are pretty neat. Interesting vial designs. You got the machine layout here. That is a well done photograph and good printing. Product photography, it's not to be underestimated, right? Portrait of a sales tool. These different liners and I guess these other things going on here. It's fascinating to see how they try to work product continued use into the product while people are using it. Oh, there's a bottle cap before it gets capped onto a bottle. I guess if you've done beer making, you'd probably know about that, but I never have, so I've never seen something like that. That's pretty neat. Oh, here we've got a little tiny fold out. It's a veritable cornucopia of bottle types. It's actually hard to photograph bottles well. One of the things is, like they were probably not using flash photography. They were probably using constant photography for this, and then they would have had to use a lot of diffusion cloth, probably with a hot light source behind it. So I'm just looking at this. You can definitely see the hot light sources here. So they were using maybe 2 lights to try to get an efficient amount of lighting. Film sensitivity was way different back then, but all of these are double lit. You can see that plain as day. And then the way that you don't see the hot light source and then make it go down like that is probably diffusion cloth. But another thing you can do is whatever the table is on, you have it on rollers and you just roll the table just a little bit just to create diffusion across the light on the glass. That's an old trick for making highly reflective objects not look quite so hot with the lighting, because you can see the lighting is definitely hot on all of these. But on some of these, I guess they did a little better, but that had to be hard to do. It's just kind of interesting to look into the photography techniques that they had to use to photograph all of that glass. And then, of course, they don't want the room reflecting in there, and they don't want the photographer reflecting in it. So it takes a little bit of skill. And it's the same thing with these glasses, which have Pinocchio, Donald Duck, Geppetto, all kinds of stuff going on there. I remember plain as day, my parents and everybody's parents, every kitchen had this kind of stuff in it, especially this bottom row, maybe a few of these, but I remember like lots of stuff like this. You know, we were all just middle-class families living in row home neighborhoods, so we had a lot of stuff like that. You know, a bottle carrier like that looks really cool, and we've seen a couple of different bottle carriers like this throughout this entire manual, but that also, I mean, that just looks like a great way to have your bottles hit the deck. You know, I mean, I've had so many six-pack carriers let me down when I was taking beer to a party or something that, you know, after a while you just start holding them underneath and carrying them because you don't want to lose what you got. And, you know, this is not terribly interesting, so we're just going to move through this. We got eyedropper bottles and lids and different things like that. An alibi in advance. Adam's apple. Apple butter. So depending where you live, maybe you've never had apple butter. Really good apple butter, like the Amish locally here in Lancaster, make their own homemade apple butter that they sell at their various stands and stores, and holy cow, is that ever good. I would imagine that's vegetarian vegan too. Here we have from design to finished package. It's more just another assortment of bottles. And, you know, there's just not much to reflect on with all of these. We've all seen these containers and different things before, but here we go to a product again. That's always cool. Johnson's Wax No Buff Floor for Large Areas. I remember using stuff like this when I was in the military, because when you're in basic training and technical training, they make you buff the damn floor with a floor buffer all the time. So we were always using different products like this, although they didn't want us to. But we wanted the floors to look good, so we would always sneak a little wax in there. I hope I'm not making life harder on successive generations of people in basic training by revealing those secrets. It's definitely something we used to do, and I guess if we did it, everybody was doing it. I often felt that one of the most important parts of military basic training was how many rules you could break and how much you could get away with it. And then, of course, we had an amnesty day on our last day there where we revealed all of our secrets just to make life harder on the next group of suckers who were coming through. So anyway, here we are, section 7. And in here, we're going to be looking at labels, seals, and tags. So I just want you to settle down. I know you're excited. Calm down. Hopefully you have a drink. Pause the video and go get yourself something to drink, a cup of coffee, bag of chips. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, wow. I was not expecting that. Like I said, this is all a surprise to me too. I have never looked through this book this thoroughly before. So I'm intrigued. Santa Dominique, California Sherry Wine. I mean, okay, wow, that is really cool. Cleanser, germicide, deodorant, disinfectants. My tongue is getting tired from talking. Contains no lime or acids. Antrim's Beacon Light. You know, for a moment I thought that said Bacon Light, and I thought, holy hell, what is a Bacon Light? But no, it's a Beacon Light, so whatever. Let us not tarry. What do we have here? Ever-ready labels. Go places and do things. You can see that, like, that long strip of labels there. Look at that old car. It's just like a pile of different labels there. Oh, that is really cool. Let's see what we got here. Oh, this is neat. We're gonna look through every page, right? We got to see this. So, this is like a little magazine within the book. I mean, let's just. Ever-ready Labels spent some fucking money on getting into this manual, because you got to imagine that even just like half a page or a full page was probably expensive. These guys went and like stuck like a whole magazine in the middle of here. So props to whoever did that at Ever-ready Labels. I don't know where you guys are now, Good work. Let's take a look. Here we go. Page 1. Okay, so here we are. Ever ready? Oh, my mouth is just coated with whatever odors are coming off this thing. There's some ancient stuff coming up off of here. Ever ready solves your label problems. Action getters. I just look at this. I mean, NRA. As I recall, and my father pointed this out to me years ago, the NRA has nothing to do with the NRA that you're thinking of now. This is a different political organization. President Roosevelt says the display of this seal on your packages and letters means consumer goodwill. And just look at that layout. That is one busy ass layout. Just look at that. It's amazing. Half minute, you figure it yourself, the ever ready way. Some of you might actually remember Gimbals. We had a Gimbals here. I believe it was located at a mall called Park City. Chicken or cheese ravioli. Yes, please. I don't eat chicken or cheese anymore, but I mean, you know, if they have some of that ravioli, I'd certainly try it. I'm not real super strict. I just try to do better. International Shortwave Radio Club. Just, that is so cool. I would love to have a sticker like that. HJ Electric contractor. Boy, those are neat. Naphtha, beware of flammable vapors. Shit, yeah. Dressing. Oh my God, the dust and the smells coming up off of this book. Holy cow. Hold on, I'm gonna mask up. It's getting a little tough, a little hard to breathe. Okay, much better. This art down in this corner just briefly reminded me a little bit of, is it Tim from Finland or Tom from Finland? Why do I even know that? Because I use the internet, that's why. This is just too cool. Range of sizes. Oh, what do we have here? Reciprocity, okay, that's important. Just looking at what we got here, I've never really gotten a good look at this. Guys, kids, young people, that is called a typewriter. And some of the best books ever written in the history of humanity were written on that, not on a computer. Some of the greats are from the typewriter era. I'm very happy to be from the computer era. It's much easier to write on a computer than it is a typewriter if you've ever done it. I learned to type on an IBM Selectric. They were actually really nice. They had those big chunky buttons and kind of a bouncy feel to them. It was very nice, nice mechanical keyboard feel. Those are really cool. Foreign News Department. I like that. That's pretty neat. This mask itself smells like it's a toxic waste dump. I'm not sure if the book is worse or the mask is worse. So we got the baby's diaper service. Boy, who doesn't remember that? Back in the 70s and the 80s, God, they were everywhere. Psyllium seed. This just gets more and more interesting as we go here. Businessmen agree on labels as basic advertising medium. It's just kind of cut off. They maybe didn't get the editing quite right there. Prevent the spreading of colds. Use only handkerchief. I like how they come in like a little box like that. I like that. All these little special. And when I did IT for that shipping company, it was like a middleman company. They had just giant rolls of all kinds of stickers for things like this. This was very common. Things with batteries had to be labeled accordingly and things like that. They actually had things like this too, because you had like paper tape and things similar to that for creating boxes. I remember when postal dudes used to dress like that. I remember there used to be a guy that walked through our neighborhood, and he used to let us punch him in the arm. He was an old World War II vet when we were kids. He was a cool guy, but he got to hit you back, so you got to watch out. Imagine that today. Imagine getting punched in the arm by a mailman today. So we had a lot of fun with him. I remember he was a nice old guy. So that's the end paper of that. That's the very back page from the Ever Ready Label Corporation. And then we have this this pullout. So we've got some interesting stickers on display in here. These samples. You know, like how cool is that? Swiss Pine Bath. Dry Fast Concentrate. Price $1. The world's finest finger wave cotton. Nice. Skin Vita contains vitamin F. Alpine Made. Speaking of vitamin F, what the hell is vitamin F? Anyway, Franklin Research, rubber gloss wax. I guess you have to wet these bad boys to stick them. They didn't come with adhesive like they do nowadays. That one looks a little damaged. Something's going on there. Chase brass and copper. Using the centaur with a bow, like Chiron maybe. This one got folded, a little dog-eared. Still cool though. Individual package of 30 Duart pads for one permanent wave. I'm not even sure what the hell we're looking at here for permanent waving. Certified clear. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe hair? I don't know. Jarro furniture polish. That is a neat little sticker, man. That is really cool. Put that one there. I have never looked at these in here. This is just the coolest damn thing. Stop sudden death. Illuminate your highways. So, I mean, I would imagine that there was a real push for that way back when. Lighted areas have less crime, less trouble, less accidents. Okay, so let's put these bad boys back for posterity and eternity. And in case this book ever moves on to somebody else, they'll really appreciate having all that. That is really neat. That kind of presages like a 50s style, and which was way bigger, you know, almost a decade later. Anyway, that was definitely the highlight of the evening so far. And that's interesting how they had that all laid out there. I guess they had to find a way to incorporate that into the actual structure of the book. Oh, okay, it folds out. Look at that. I mean, holy cow. The Ever Ready Label Company, they really went above and beyond in here. I would say that they are the standout of the entire catalog thus far. All right, continuing on, we're talking about various label manufacturing methods. Vanilla wafers. Boy, I remember those. I haven't had those in years. I just don't eat a lot of junk anymore. I try to eat a really clean diet. And so there's a Miles Domino's salt. That's different. We got coffee. What do we have here? FM Howell and Co. Oh, that's nice. It's like a signed letter from from the president and everything. Very nice. Do you doubt the sincerity? Atlas brand. That's neat. I'd like to see that in color. Oh, there's a nice little bit of foil down there. Very nice. This is a bottle of wine, believe it or not. Solano. Transparent label is what they're talking about there. There's another nice, it's a nice gold leaf on there. Nice, lots of color. So the seal of fine lithographing and foil label embossing. Holy cow. Look at that. Fox On Company, Providence, Rhode Island. I can't help thinking that you wouldn't like a closer look at that, right? Let's just take a closer look and look at all that color. The rainbow trouts. Boy, that is really well done. So also we've got this like wood grain paper behind it. I guess that must have been a thing at one time, wood grain paper. Like, when is the last time you saw wood grain paper? Canada Dry Pale Ginger Ale speaks for itself, right? That's got some brilliant colors going on there. And also it's kind of a foil-like effect. Over here we've got Indian Splint Incorporated, Rochester, New York, thermos vacuumware, a tenderized ham with glaze, and labels, seals, and tags. I'm trying to see what is the, I guess it's the transparent label is what they're showing there for risque. There's a package advertising literature. Some of this stuff just sort of speaks for itself, but then we get to something like this, and well, that's pretty remarkable. There really are some standout ads in here. Let's get a better look. Look at all the beautiful detail foil work on there. It's really something. And the color is so well maintained. This is stretching on that, but that's a nice foil wrapper too. Perfecto cuts. And now we've moved on to plastics. Plastics. You know them, you love them, you hate them. You wonder what they're doing to our world. They're finding them in fish and food and animals' bodies, including our own. We're breathing them in, they're in the atmosphere. We're all about plastics. One of the things about plastic from this time frame, if you've ever encountered like a 1935 to 1940 plastic, is that they had a cellulose quality to them, and they would crack and break down and get very hard and fall apart. So if they had any flexibility when they were new, they would lose that, and they would develop a hard, brittle shell that broke rather easily. So old plastic things from this time period that are in prime condition, tend to have some value to collectors, I suppose. We had a store full of all kinds of cool stuff like that around here years ago, as I mentioned earlier, called Zappin Company, and it unfortunately burned down. And the proprietor got hurt too, but he was such a pillar of our community. Oh, that's neat. Look at that. Oh, that's a watch box. Boy, I love that. That is all well done. There's just a variety of examples here. As I recall, and I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination, I remember people really seeking out Bakelite. Bakelite plastic was at one time sought after by collectors, and I mean it included like chess sets and other things, but also all the accoutrements you see here, as well as many other things, were made out of Bakelite, and it is once again that plastic that gets old and brittle. But I remember it being sought after at one time, although that was years ago, and those trends do change, right? So nobody cares about Hummels anymore. Look at that Beachy's spearmint. Is that like an old cigarette pack container protect the soft pack or playing cards too. They were already doing interesting things with plastics at that point. Don't tear your hair over your next packaging problem. Let GE design it, style it, and make it for you. I do like that. I mean, that is an interesting packaging solution, very elegant for selling cologne or perfume. Are they a subsidiary of the General Electric? More plastic molding. Very cool, interesting boxes. A lot of cool stuff going on here. He's not doing so well. But I mean, these guys are being dicks. They should try to help him. An assortment of the wonderful world of plastics. Invest in plastics, kid. It's the future. Okay, we're definitely past the halfway point. Here we have some little ornaments, little Sheltie dogs, horse head. And section 9, displays. You know, the tags are kind of an afterthought. They're really not as nice as the rest of the book. I mean, they serve their purpose and they're still sticking there, so some kind of super glue is holding them together. So anyway, we're looking at displays, paperboard counter displays, lithographed, floor stands, plastic displays, wooden displays, cabinets, decalcomania for display. Decalcomania, am I saying that right? Probably not. Decalomania. Clover bloom butter. Popcorn, already popped and ready to go. Look at that. Healthful, refreshing, delicious. Wrigley's. I wonder what a pack of that cost back then. Oh, and look, we have something missing here. Somebody found something interesting, and they cut it out. Polaroid. Let's see here. Polaroid day glasses. Stop the glare. Day glasses, because sunglasses hadn't been invented yet. So carefree. Revlon. Coors? Seriously? I mean, Coors must have been somewhat obscure back then. I'm just guessing. So let's see here. I go for Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Flashlight batteries. Look at that. That's neat. Thin heel lift. Goodyear. More style, more quality. Greeting cards. Oh, here's more of this Cliquot Club Ginger Ale. Look at those old-fashioned flashlights. We had an old-fashioned one like that around here in my father-in-law's house, actually. He had held on to that thing for years. And that's something. Kruger Beer Ales. Speed up display. Speed up turnover with display. We're seeing more of the same. It's just an interesting display materials here. That's kind of neat. It has a little light and everything there. Oh, Wonder Bread. I mean, we had to see a display for Wonder Bread eventually. The Hellman's Salad Fair. What the hell is going in there? Different kinds of colognes. Yeah, don't you remember, I think Perry Ellis years ago had some cologne that was bottled very similar to that. And boy, you can't find that anywhere now. What a shame they stopped making that. That was good cologne. So we have here the Ever-Ready Extra Long Life Battery. They really haven't worked at changing their ad copy all that much in all that time, have they? I guess a battery just sells itself with one feature, right? Extra long life. So Upjohn Natural Vitamin Products. 3 convenient forms, liquid, drops, and pearls. Makers of fine pharmaceuticals. Creators, designers, and producers. I guess all these folks are just trying to hawk their wares. Well, that is just really cool. Protection in every sport. That's the jockstrap. Tally-ho on tap. Stop hunting. Prescription X-Lax. 3 flowers. That's just neat, whatever's going on there. Chase Chromium. That's pretty neat. So it would appear that the displays and information are they're getting a little less interesting, a little more rote. So we might just maybe pick up the pace just a little on the page turning here. I mean, here's a whole section which is fascinating, but it's on, well, let's at least give it its due, machinery and supplies. So they have machinery abbreviated and supplies. I guess they're just explaining how this process works, because, you know, when you're selling something, I suppose, if you're using this catalog, the more informed you are about your product, the better you are at selling it. Also, although it sounds very cliche, you do have to believe in what you're selling to sell it well, I would think, most of the time. Look at those grand old machines. I've been in a lot of old factories doing various jobs, and sometimes I remember machinery like this still being around, perfectly painted and great condition. It's fascinating how some of that stuff holds up. So this is all pretty run-of-the-mill here. The photography and the color use and everything on this is really simple, but also really well done. I mean, this stuff is all crystal clear and really beautifully put together. Where will your 1940 profits come from? Those are I love the way those look. It's very interesting scales. It moves in a circle. I like that. It's a balanced scale utilizing plastic housing. Marshmallow fluff. A1. All the favorites from your childhood. Old English liquid wax, no rubbing. Windex. Look how Windex used to come. It's not even in a spray bottle. How the hell are you supposed to use that? More great old machines, conveyor belts and systems. You know, I guess if you're just starting up a business, this kind of stuff could be really handy, right? If it's not already in place when you buy it, you've got to get it set up. Check that out, box stitchers. Oh, how cool is that? Stitchers for bags and boxes. Box stitcher, bottom stitchers. That has a naughty connotation. Oh, look. So there's, I guess, like the stitch. They're talking about like tacking it together with those like heavy-duty staples and different things like that. Looks like the next thing coming up is printing, but we'll just keep going through these, and I want to look at every page of this entire catalog as promised. Let's go through the whole thing, just to see all the contents for the first time. Boy, even with a mask on, the smell of mildew and chemicals coming off of this thing at this point is really something. This book has not had a chance to breathe in a very long time. The Liquid Carbonic Corporation. Geez, they just don't name companies like that anymore. It's so neat. Cod liver oil, mineral oil. Oh, the book took a little turn there. It settled to the side. We're moving right along. Is that Hires root beer? Yes, it is. You know, I learned an interesting thing the other day. Europeans don't like root beer. So I went to some European friends online and I verified this, and sure enough, they don't like it. So what do we have there? Cutex, cuticle remover. That actually looked like a bottle of High Karate for a minute, so I wasn't sure. We got Heinz vinegar. Now, what are these? What are these little ampules? I'm not even sure. It's a little, the printing is a little blurry. Or maybe my eyes are a little old, even with a new prescription. So I'm just fascinated by the old products. what do we have here? That's pretty cool. National Adhesives, National Starch Products Incorporated. Greenwich Street, New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, Boston, San Francisco too, and all principal cities. They're everywhere. This guy he's everywhere. She's very bundled up for working at that machine. The wonderful world of adhesives. That's what you got that science degree for. Beats all coffee. I'll see about that. Williamson Adhesives. Make your identity stick. Lots of specialized machinery there. Oh, and here we are. We've arrived at printing. And that would be section 11. There are just 3 sections to go. You would think that the printing one would be the most absolutely standout of the entire thing, right? We got more goldfish in bags. Tack turns. Oh, look at the airplane tools. There's a lineup of airplanes. And I'm thinking, oh, did they do that in Photoshop? And it's like, no, they lined up actual fucking airplanes and did it. That's how they did it. That's really cool. Okay, you got to bring this in so you can see this. You got to see this. There could be some photo trickery there. Copy and paste is an old photography term, as is cut and paste. But just look at that. I wonder if that actually is a formation. It's pretty neat. I mean, while we're here, take a look at some of this other cool stuff. And then we get down here to that camera. I mean, what is going on there? Story of the world's finest 16mm movie camera. Just more interesting things going on there. Some kind of a booklet. Fresh Way coffee. I'm so curious what these old coffees tasted like. Like many of you, I love a good cup of coffee. But what comprises a good cup of coffee is, and what is acceptable as a good cup of coffee is just different from person to person. So this would appear to be more about the printing machinery than the printing itself. All kinds of machinery here. And oh, what are the products? Canada Dry water. Okay. Bottled water. Just seems like something that you do in the modern age. It's always kind of odd to find like old versions of it. Jello, chiclets, all kinds of stuff. Chase and Sanborn, more coffee I'll never get to try. Oh, do you see that? That's beech nut cooked spaghetti. Sparkle and durability. So you're durable like an elephant and sparkly like a diamond, all right? Nitrocellulose lacquer. It sounds deadly, doesn't it? It sounds like it would hurt. We are moving right along here. Something by Cody. They've been around forever, huh? Stanley. More printing equipment. Come rain or sleet, come ice or snow, Egyptian lacquer. Now, I recall looking at this one in the past, and I believe that, yes, this insert is treated with 1 coat of Egyptian clear glossy lacquer. And as you can see, the light hitting it, it's quite glossy. Resins for coating surfaces. It just sounds scary, chemical-wise. Take a look. Oh, look, you know, if you so dare, you put your face up there and take a look. Window package displays. Okay, so like for golf balls and things like that. And you can see they're see-through there. Something's going on. Oh, and here we come to section 12, shipping. Now, before we proceed here, I'm going to imagine that the excitement potential of the book is about to take quite a dive. So we're probably going to hurry our way through this, but we are going to look at it. Electromaster electronic teapot, tea kettle. I like that. A little surprised to be happy with the first thing I saw. Wait, what's that guy doing? Oh, okay. All right. Some kind of stamping machine. I would love to have that. How cool would it be to have one of those? You know, if you could make a stamped out cutouts like that for people, like that with an old-fashioned machine, you could probably sell that as a business online. People would love to buy that kind of stuff from you. You could spend all day doing that and get, you know, repetitive stress injury. So let's see here. Profit packages. All right. Quick way coffee maker. Oh, how interesting. I would love to have that. That would be neat to try. A giant ass sewing machine. Boy, you don't want to use that wrong even one time. Stitching machine, they call it, right? You're going to be careful. That is still done the same way to this day, because I've seen it. This section was slightly more engaging than I thought it would be. The smell quotient on the book is absolutely skyrocketing, even through a mask. I don't know what's going on there. That is very soft. What are we looking at there? Dresses your package. Kimpact. Crepe wadding. He would like you to see the crepe wadding. He's definitely a cutout inserted in there, and they really did a shit job on that. He doesn't seem to mind. Grand City. Poor moistening left, contrasted with good moistening. And stop saying the word moist. How about that? They're talking about tape. Settle down. Correct tape lengths. Okay, all right. There's another mailman wearing a hat, full regalia. It was almost like a military uniform at one time, for goodness sakes. Now we get to transparent containers and displays. Section 13, and really, after the index, this is it. We've reached the final one. So here we go. Let's have a look. Rigid, transparent containers. Okay, you're seeing that, right? I see that too. Fragile. So hold on, let's see what it says here. Unusual shapes are attainable by drawing and seaming operations. Witness this shocking package in leg shape. Courtesy Celluloid Corporation. So yeah, it's a leg with ostensibly some kind of heel on there. It's not a very high heel. Oh, look at that. Boy, what a burst of color. That is really nice. Clear sight and high colloid. Colloid. Yeah. Containers, vials, tubes, transparent or opaque. That is just really, what a neat picture. I really like that. Oh, there's a piece of the product, in case you want to know what it's like. Not entirely sure what I'm seeing here. They look like small towels, maybe washcloths. More wrapping there. This color seems a little faded, but it held up. There's more different types of packaging from the time. Just trying to see if we can actually see what the products are. Temporary stopping, baits by somebody. Tangerines. That's orange. Orange color, I guess. That's what happens when it hits black and white, especially depending on the black and white film that's used. Just trying to see what we're dealing with here. There's so many interesting things. Watch bands. Oh, there's dental floss. So we know dental floss has been around at least that long. Monsanto Plastics. The evil Monsanto. All right, so anyway, let's see here, we got London Swank, the finest in pipes in America. So those are pretty damn neat. Oh, and here we go, the Buyer's Guide directory. And we have essentially reached the end of the line. So this is just a listing and directory. And there you are, my friends. I'm not going to pull that apart because there's just all kinds of materials breaking loose in there. Here we have this, once again, this very nice textured linen kind of paper as the end paper, and it has faithfully held this book together for ages. There it is. So, once again, who was this by? So there it is, the Breskin Publishing Corporation Packaging Catalog, Information on Materials, Equipment, and Procedures Used in Package Design, Products and Merchandise, Buyer's Directory, and Packaging Industries from 1940. It's a little piece of history in our hands, right? Well, that wraps up this video. I hope you've enjoyed the show. This is a pretty long video. I'm going to try to edit it down best I can. Feel free to leave me any questions in the comments below, and I do hope you enjoy taking a trip down memory lane with this old book. I'm going to put it back on the shelves in a plastic bag to just contain it and keep it safe. And like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And if you enjoyed this nice, long, slowly paced video that is nowhere near as exciting as many videos are on YouTube, please consider liking and subscribing. You know how YouTube works. It always helps. So anyway, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. And if you made it through the whole way to the end, thank you especially for that. And have a good day.